The third question: how do leaders function within disorganized crowds? Luo Peng said, whenever living creatures gather, whether animals or humans, they instinctively submit to the leadership of a dominant individual. Therefore, the role of leaders in disorganized crowds and their psychological influence must be examined separately. First, let's categorize leadership types. Le Bon divides crowd leaders into two types: temporary leaders with strong determination and those with enduring willpower who hold long-term positions. For example, riot instigators or heroic rescuers become leaders only during specific actions. The second type includes leaders whose influence often outlives them, like revolutionary figures, founding fathers, legendary entrepreneurs, and great philosophers. These two leadership types are easily distinguishable. Let me provide a literary example for clarity. In Jin Yang's novel, The Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, Zhang Wuji represents a provisional leader, while his successor, Nu Yuanzhang, exemplifies a long-term leader. Despite his unparalleled martial art skills, Zhang's passive nature made him susceptible to others' influence. What about Zhou Yuanzhang? Though lacking martial prowess, his unwavering determination made him an exceptional leader. Second, let's examine leadership tactics. What methods do leaders employ to establish authority? Le Bon identifies three key techniques: assertion, repetition, and contagion. Assertion means making decisive claims without justification or reasoning. Only through unwavering declarations can leaders sway crowds. Remember our explosion example. Temporary leaders would repeatedly shout "explosion" without evidence. Why would this situation constitute an explosion? Long-term leaders employ even more emphatic rhetoric. Conviction makes their statements feel natural and reassuring. Le Bon observed that rational arguments cannot defeat loaded terms and slogans, which command automatic respect when heard by crowds. Exactly. Those grand rhetorical phrases always sound invigorating and uplifting. Second, repetition is crucial. A lie repeated 1,000 times becomes truth. Even critical thinkers will hallucinate after hearing a leader's words repeated 10,000 times. The person shouting about an explosion wouldn't yell just 3 or 5 times, but endlessly. This constant repetition amplifies psychological instability. Napoleon said, "The single most important rhetorical device is repetition." Napoleon was a master manipulator, a true leader through and through. He thoroughly understood the power of repeating concepts. Finally, contagion. However absurd the claim, persistent repetition ensures widespread acceptance. Recall the 2011 Fukushima radiation leak. Coastal residents hoarded salt due to baseless radiation protection claims. In crowds, fear overrides rationality. Rumors die with the wise, but panic eliminates wisdom from crowds. Through assertion, repetition, and contagion, leaders gain formidable influence, called prestige. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle. Prestige enables more assertion, repetition, contagion, amplified through media and culture. Ultimately, society's leader worship resembles religious devotion. This concludes part 3. To recap, leaders are either temporary, emerging in specific contexts, or permanent. When the context disappears, temporary leaders vanish into the crowd. Permanent leaders maintain influence through unwavering determination. Leadership requires the three-word mantra: assert, repeat, infect. A leader must be the one who breaks through walls. This persistence builds lasting prestige. Finally, the crucial question: how should we view this controversial work? Le Bon's asterisk, the crowd asterisk, was published 122 years ago. Since Le Bon, scholars have expanded crowd psychology research through various approaches. When interpreting asterisk, the crowd asterisk, we should adopt three perspectives: looking up, eye level, and overview. First phase. Approach with deep respect for this century-old social psychology pioneer. Second phase. Engage with the text through neutral analysis of his arguments. Third phase. Contextualize Le Bon's ideas with intellectual history through critical overview. Only by positioning Le Bon in the marketplace of ideas can we achieve critical understanding. Wang Yangming's principle of unity of knowledge and action reminds us to bridge theory with practice through critique. Now, let's attempt a comprehensive evaluation of Le Bon's theories. Noted American sociologist Robert Merton offered a balanced assessment. Asterisk, the crowd. Asterisk remains relevant for problem identification, not solution provision. Indeed, Le Bon was prescient. His observations about crowd mentality remain alarmingly valid. In our era of fragmented information and viral misinformation, we might be swayed by viral marketing or, unconsciously, follow influencers' lead. Crowd mentality manifests everywhere. The threshold for mob formation has never been lower. Le Bon's assertions have been repeatedly validated. Ironically, asterisk, the crowd, asterisk itself employs the very tactics it describes: assertion and repetition. Le Bon persistently argues, intelligent individuals become irrational when emotionally mobilized. The book's global popularity completes the contagion process he described. Thus, Le Bon himself becomes a leader, using publishing to assert, repeat, and spread ideas. This creates theoretical-practical synergy within asterisk. The crowd asterisk. Le Bon's achievement remains remarkable. Now, let's examine subsequent supporting studies and criticisms of asterisk, the crowd asterisk. Le Bon's analysis of crowd-leader relations was observational, as experimental psychology was nascent during his era. As an amateur social observer, Le Bon lacked resources for theoretical experimentation. In 1961, Yale psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted his famous obedience to authority experiment. This experiment revealed humans' inherent tendency to obey authoritative commands. Under specific conditions, people will betray their moral codes to harm innocents when ordered. Let's briefly outline this experiment. Milgram recruited ordinary citizens as unknowing teachers, while staff acted as students. The teacher's task was administering electric shocks for wrong answers during vocabulary tests. Each error triggered stronger shocks, with actors simulating corresponding pain responses. Results showed 65% of participants administered lethal 450-volt shocks under instruction. This experiment partially validates Le Bon's theories about crowd obedience. Economist Mancur Olson offered different perspectives. focusing on individual interests. Olson's research emphasized participants' personal benefit calculations. He found crowd members often maintain rationality, using collective actions for self-interest. Many protesters participate for free meals rather than ideological commitment, classic freer riding. Le Bon's analysis of crowd formation factors appears incomplete by modern standards. Sociologist Neil Smelser's value-added theory offers better explanatory framework. Key difference lies in Smelser's emphasis on social control mechanisms. This refers to how institutions facilitate or constrain collective behavior. Smelser's theory better accounts for structural conditions enabling crowd phenomena. This refers to governmental control capacity. Strong infiltration into crowds prevents mass mobilization. Finally, the book's political incorrectness remains highly controversial. Le Bon exhibits blatant racism and sexism, disparaging people of color, women, and children throughout the text. In Chapter 2, Le Bon writes, group characteristics, like impulsiveness and irrationality, resemble lower evolutionary forms, women, savages, and children. Discussing wrongful convictions, he asserts, mistaken identifications usually come from women, children, and the weak-willed. By modern standards, Le Bon would be condemned as racist and misogynistic. Historical context. Britain granted female suffrage in 1928. U.S. passed Civil Rights Act in 1964. Modern moral judgments on 19th century thinkers require historical perspective. Let's conclude with key takeaways. First, Le Bon's crowd refers to people sharing common perceptions, not random gatherings. Crowd psychology features instinct-driven behavior, low intellect, impulsiveness, and suggestibility. Second, individuals join crowds through direct triggers like witnessing events or persuasive rhetoric. Shared memories and social experiences also facilitate crowd formation. Third, racial, traditional, and temporal factors constitute indirect influences. Fourth, leaders manipulate crowds through assertion, repetition, and contagion. This concludes our analysis of the crowd. Key notes available below. Thank you for listening.